Scientists at the Groote Schuur Hospital in Cape Town have started a new trial to investigate the potential to repurpose an anti-diarrhea drug, Nitazoxanid, in order to treat COVID-19. This low-cost drug is one of several that scientists are hoping to repurpose in order to fight the virus. Pulmonologists at Groote Schuur say that the anti-diarrheal agent has shown to be deadly to SARS-COVID-2, which is what causes COVID-19. So over 900 participants have been enrolled in the trial, and it will be running in various places countrywide. To tell us a little bit more about this, we are joined by Professor Keertan Dheda, who is the head of pulmonology at UCT and Groote Schuur. Prof, great to have you. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good morning.
This is a big development. Again, we keep looking for these developments with the treatment of COVID-19. So talk to us about this low-cost drug, Nitazoxanid, and what prompted the idea to actually test this specific drug?
Yeah, Nitazoxanid is been around for some time now, almost 25 years, and it's widely available in many countries where it's registered for the treatment of diarrhea caused due to certain parasites. And interestingly, this drug also has antiviral properties, and it has been evaluated in a number of viral infections, such as, for example, influenza, hepatitis C, Ebola, where it's shown some favorable effects. And it just turns out that those viruses are also RNA viruses, broadly structurally similar to the SARS-CoV-2 virus. And, of course, that was the clue. So Nitazoxanid, for example, showed favorable effects in a trial where it was evaluated for the treatment of influenza. And more recently, the drug was effective against killing SARS-CoV laboratory setting. And this is the reason why the drug was suggested as one that might be useful for COVID-19, and that's led to a group of investigators in South Africa going ahead to trial this drug. Yeah. The trial has just started randomizing patients last week at the UCT Lung Institute, and the trial is being run across 4 cities in South Africa, 2 in Gauteng. That's the Ekurhuleni municipality, Klerksdorp, Durban, and then, of course, Cape Town, and that's at the UCT Lung Institute.
Yeah, all right. So it's something to look forward to see if, in fact, this does help. But what I believe and what you're saying is that the trials are taking place, but this is only taking place globally, only in South Africa. This trial is not going on anywhere else. So talk to us about this. Why? Why is it only South Africa that's looking into this?
Well, there's 2 parts to that. The first is that there are 2 other trials that are planned, one in Mexico and one in the United States, that those trials are also about to kick off. And those trials will also evaluate Nitazoxanid. The difference between those trials and our trial is, firstly, our trial is the only one that's evaluating the drug in HIV-infected persons. The second thing is that our trial, like those 2 trials, are evaluating ambulatory patients. In other words, these are not patients that are already hospitalized, and I'll talk a little bit about that just now. But the other fundamental difference is that ours is the only trial that's looking to see whether Nitazoxanid prevents complications of COVID-19. In other words, it prevents, as the primary, people who get the drug are actually prevented from getting to hospital in the first place. And just to unpack that a little bit, our trial focuses, another unique aspect is that our trial focuses only on evaluating people at enhanced risk. And what that means is this is really looking at people above the age of 50, people who have diabetes and so forth. And as you would know, these are the very people that are at high risk of progressing to complicated disease. So about 1 in 3 of such individuals end up landing in hospital, and about 1 in 3 of such people who land in hospital die. So it seems intuitive to give this drug early on in the course of disease, before people even get into hospital, so that we prevent the complications in the first place. So it's one thing trying to find that works for COVID-19. The thing is to try and find out when to optimally give this drug. And we have theorized that if we give this drug early in the course of disease, so these are in ambulatory persons, these are not hospitalized people who have COVID-19, and we give them the drug within 5 days of symptoms, that it is likely to prevent complications as I've outlined.
But this is not, obviously, you're not telling people to go out there, rush and buy it now. This is a trial, and I think that's important to sort of emphasize. Or are you saying that if you feel that you'd like to try it, go for it? I mean, let's get some clarity there.
No, absolutely. Nobody should go out and get Nitazoxanid. It is not available over the counter or by prescription in this country yet, though there is an application that has been made to register the drug. So you cannot really get the drug here very easily yet. There is a local company that will make the drug available. However, one, I guess, could buy this via the internet, but I would not urge anyone to do that. The benefit of this drug in COVID-19 is as yet unproven, although it seems to be potent against the virus in a laboratory setting. Whether it actually works in the real world is unknown, and there are lots of examples where drugs work in the laboratory, but they may not work in the real world setting. So until we have the results of the trial or the results of these other two trials come out, then there's no justification to take the drug.
We put that out there just in case people say that we're advocating for it. Just remember, these are still trials taking place. Now, the other, I remember talking about it it was around about June, where we went to Dexamethasone as something that, I mean, it's a cheaply and widely produced drug here in South Africa, where it was going to be used by those patients that are a lot further on with the infection from coronavirus, those in fact that are even in hospital. This one, you say, if works well, would be earlier in the treatment. Talk to us about the dexamethasone. How has that been handled? Is it still working well? I mean, is that still something that is being widely used in patients?
Yeah, so there are two components of the disease. One is caused by the virus itself, which damages cells and results in a pneumonia. And then the second part is the body's reaction to that pneumonia. And in some individuals, there is a uncontrolled abnormal reaction to the infection, which results in the production of a lot of chemical messengers produced by the immune system. You may have heard of the term a cytokine storm, and that's what that refers to. And is an anti-inflammatory agent that works in response in hospitalized people. And so it treats the inflammatory component of the disease. Nitazoxanid is a class of drug that treats the viral component of the disease. So like remdesivir would be another one, favipiravir would be another one. These are antiviral agents. And dexamethasone is not a drug we use early in the course of disease in ambulatory patients. It's used in hospitalized individuals who have pneumonia and who require oxygen. So it's a different category of drug, but it's part of the sort of spectrum of therapeutic agents we use to treat patients with COVID-19.
I mean, this is quite something. We look forward to the trials and those coming out. Just finally, as we wrap up this interview, Prof, how are you feeling about the course that COVID-19 is taking now in South Africa? We're seeing, and we're running it in our headlines, that we are now not in the top 5 of the countries that have the highest infection rate. We're seeing infections dropping, fatalities are even dropping now. Are you feeling good about it? I mean, is there reason to be optimistic?
Well, yes, I'm actually quite relieved, and I think everybody is. Here in the Western Cape, the case burden has dropped by almost 90%. But I think we need to be vigilant and we need to be cautious. We haven't gotten rid of the virus completely yet. And if you look at previous global pandemics, both of coronavirus and of influenza, there is this concept of a second wave and a third wave. where there can be a resurgence of the virus. This has already happened in several countries. So I think we still need to be very cautious, still apply all the non-pharmaceutical measures, distancing, good vending, large gatherings, and so forth. So I think, let's be positive and keep our fingers crossed that we don't get there.
Prof, we'll get you back on the show once those trials and the results are through, but it's been a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you very, very much. Professor Keertan Dheda is the head of pulmonology at the University of Cape Town and Groote Schuur Hospital, talking to us about these new trials that are taking place to test a low-cost anti-diarrhea drug, would you believe it, in the hope that it'll fight COVID-19. All right, that brings us to our headlines now. Let's